Or to discuss more, we're now being joined by AVM GP Sharma, who is the President, Meteorology and Climate Change at SkyMet Weather. We appreciate you joining on the broadcast.
Thank you, Joseph.
Well, it is a terrible catastrophe to say the least, and so considering the fragile terrain and the weather conditions, which seems to be getting even more dire, how difficult will the situation become, and what are the weather conditions that we're going to be looking at while the operations happen, the rescue operations?
Just now, see the mountains and the water bodies in that difficult terrain become very, very vulnerable, susceptible also. They're difficult to read the weather activity also. The tragic incident which happened yesterday, 3 of the cloudbursts were there in that region. Okay, one was at Darali, which you mentioned, Darali and neighboring area, and the other 2 also they were there. That was one over Sukhi Top, and the third one that was over Avana, Bugya region. Good that at least the other 2 areas, they were not populated, they were not inhabited enough. But this particular one, next to Darali and Harsel, where the army camp also was there, they have been damaged and there have been loss of life and property. As I said, this is the season, monsoon season. It is the difficulty is manifold. The predictability of the weather events that itself suffer. The multi-dimensional the difficulties, they come into picture wherein the terrain adds on to that. Mind you, this place where the cloudburst struck, Darali, it's an elevation of almost nearly about 9,000 feet. To be precise, about 8,800 feet. The slopes are ranging from 12,000 feet downward. Okay, so you can imagine if any cloudburst or such event over that place is there, the amount of water that gushes, the volume of water, the speed of water is enormous. And that is how the devastation that takes place. Unfortunately, now, you see, you asked about the weather conditions. Oh, not a good news on that front. Since last 2 days, particularly about last 36 hours, it's almost non-stop activity, weather activity over that area where the rescue operations are needed the most at this point of time. Okay, but then all the agencies, they have their own limitations, even the air operations also, they will get restricted on account of inclement weather conditions, and that's how they're finding it difficult to reach the spot. But weather activity, yes, it is likely to continue today. I expect some improvement tomorrow, but then you see the hills, they remain susceptible, they keep responding even after the main weather activity, even if it is slowed down, they keep responding. So are the water bodies. Yes, yes.
Right. You also talked about the predictability of weather conditions. Now, we have been having reports, and I remember having you on the show before as well. We're talking about how this whole heavy rainfall has increased in the past few years, and we were expecting such weather conditions. Could that not have been predicted in this particular area?
See, prediction is one thing. Prediction, as far as is concerned, it is limited to giving a forecast or an alarm or a heavy to very heavy rainfall in that particular region. The forecast, location-specific forecast remains a challenge. Okay, and particularly for a cloudburst forecast, I don't find that we still are reached that level wherein the cloudburst. Cloudburst is a very, very heavy, extremely heavy rainfall over a localized area in a short span of time, over 100 millimeter in a couple of hours, in 1 hour or even more. So those type of forecasts, they remain a challenge, and the difficulty of the terrain, it adds another dimension to those forecasts. It is not possible. You can have the observation platform in these places, but then they have their own limitations, manning 24/7. It's good that this particular incident happened, at least in the daytime. The limitation is the location and the intensity. Location of the event and its timings. They are very, very important. At least in the daylight, you can do something at that point of. Just imagine if it had happened later in the night or so, the people may be sleeping in their houses without getting any alarm, any chance.
Right.
So that is a very, very important for the natural calamities which they happen. It is a good one way that at least some rescue could be undertaken at that point of time. But then, as I said, these calamities, it is not this time. We have had a repeat of these activities earlier also. The same region, it was there in 2018 also. In 2023, the next door, that the Chamoli region also had a disaster. These hills are very, very fragile. Entire mountain ranges, they are
Right.
the newest era-wise. Okay, so and in that Uttarakhand region, wherein we have two subdivisions, that is the Kumaon Hills and the Garhwal Hills. This particular thing has happened in Garhwal Hills, and last time also it was in the same Garhwal Hills. But the entire state is under the influence impact of very intense and severe weather conditions, and that is what is restricting the operations. They are going to be there, these are going to be there for the next about 24 hours before some marginal improvement takes place. And as I said, because the predictability, yes, models have their own limitations. The human beings have their own limitations. The mountains, they remain extremely susceptible.
Right.
Okay, even if you put some observation platform, it will have some limitation in terms of its reach. Weather radar is there next door, it is there, but then it will not read much because of the terrain. The hilltops are there. It will.
Right.
We will have to live with possibly this limitation, and rescue relief operations, I fear that they will have to be held for some time, not for only weather conditions. The activity which has been there non-stop for the last about 48 hours or so, the roads have given. It's a sinking. The landslide, the mudslide.
Absolutely.
It has been repeatedly.
Because
boulders are there on the highway. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely, and I really, because you mentioned unstable terrain, and I was going to get to that, because just 4 days ago, the Supreme Court of India had raised an alarm over the rapidly deteriorating ecological balance in Himachal Pradesh, warning that if that is unchecked, the state could vanish in thin air. Concerning all of that and the warning from Supreme Court, is this what we see? Is this catastrophe a glimpse of what the Supreme Court was warning about?
It's not the first time that the Supreme Court has warned. It is not the first time that caution is being raised on many accounts. Okay, every place has got its there is a capacity limitations to anything. Okay, this particular thing, you're very right. Development is needed, all right, but not at the cost of some casualties or some the collapse of the infrastructure as such. As I mentioned, these are very, very fragile hills or so, and then we are in and out. We are definitely fingering these slopes on account of development also. You see, the roads and the slopes, they are such that they start giving in after certain period of time. Like if it is saturated, the slopes have gone soft, anything on that will have its own limitation, momentum will build up, loads on the slopes will increase, and that is how they start giving up. Okay, but then what is happening is, you see, whether it is there is a rampant tourism in these places. This is not the season when we should have that. Okay, everything should be a controlled activity, including the development. One must have the guidelines. It should not be a policy collapse in such cases. There should be some scientific studies taken. They have been taken. They have been taken, but not taken cognizance of. Okay, who's not aware about the climate change? What the climate change is doing? We are talking about the global warming. Global warming means increase in temperature. Increase in temperature means the water holding, moisture holding capacity of that air capsule that increases. Means the clouds will have more amount of water. Where will it go? When the rainfall starts, the cloudburst takes a shape of that only. These sensitive weather events, they are on the increase. They have become more frequent. They are more intense also. Okay, unless we seriously think about something, I think we have to literally do seriously something about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do note every point you said, and very correctly, because thank you so much for summarizing everything, and not just, the weather conditions, but like all the policies that one should take. But I do appreciate you coming here and explaining all of the information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.